Good evening. First tonight, the public inquiry into child sex abuse has unveiled the scale of its investigation into Nottinghamshire's care system. Today, local survivors groups joined more than 30 lawyers for the opening hearing in London. Among them was a woman who's told this programme that she reported abuse in children's homes to people at the highest levels. Our social affairs correspondent Jeremy Ball was at today's hearing.
What really happened in Nottinghamshire's children's homes all those decades ago, the police have been investigating for a number of years, but today a new chapter in the quest for truth at the independent public inquiry. Today a preliminary hearing's been held here in London. We heard it's going to look at the extent of institutional failings in Nottingham and Nottinghamshire and whether councils failed to protect children in care from sexual abuse and exploitation. The inquiry is chaired by Professor Alexis Jay, who wrote a damning report on the extent of child abuse in Rotherham. Today, campaigners from Nottingham were in London for her latest investigation.
This is beyond our wildest dreams. We hope to get a public inquiry, but we actually forced the inquiry to come to Nottingham, and you know what? That is absolutely amazing.
Survivors are finally being heard, and they're going to be heard, and that's what they've always wanted, just to have a voice. And hopefully past failings won't haunt us in the future.
There too, a former Nottingham Children's Home resident who became a lay inspector.
I couldn't prevent the abuse. It just continued, despite me reporting it. It continued and went on even as I reported it to the highest level.
And how does that make you feel now?
Very angry. It's always made me angry. That's why I'm here 22 years on.
These days, Nottinghamshire's children's homes are a world away from the institutions of the past, but the public inquiry wants to make sure that all the lessons have been learnt.
Well, Jeremy Ball's just come from the hearing and joins us now from London. Jeremy, what are the next steps?
Well, Sarah, eventually we're going to hear some really heart-wrenching stories, and today it emerged that almost 70 complainants, as they're being described, have now been given what's known as core participant status in this inquiry. First of all, though, they've got to plough through a mass of evidence, tens of thousands of pages we heard from things like police reports and disciplinary hearings. We also heard they've now identified 57 different children's homes and they're also looking at a number of foster placements too, so a huge task ahead of them.
Well, clearly a moment many people have waited for. What can this public inquiry really achieve?
Well, this is really about learning lessons from the past so that nothing like this can ever happen again. They want to know the scale of any abuse, the reasons why it happened. Were children believed? If they complained, were they simply moved somewhere else? Whistleblowers too. Was there a culture that stopped things they were saying being investigated? Now, today we heard that this inquiry is going to be broadcast publicly. Complainants are going to be given the option of doing that anonymously. And Alexis Jay also said she'll consider a request to move these inquiry hearings up to Nottingham.
Thank you, Jeremy.